Hey y'all, how's everybody doing? Alright, I got a sharp cash register. I thought I would tear into it and see what's inside. Okay, let's get to it. First we'll test this key to see if it's brass. Magnet stick, so that's steel. I'll go ahead and I'll cut off the cable. Power cord, I mean. I'll cut this end off and get that brass. So yeah, I've never done one of these nor seen it, so I'm not really sure the plan of attack. That's just some plastic. Imagine that's the ink cartridge, and okay, that's nothing really too exciting. Let's take these screws out and see what that does. Okay, yeah, there's the ink ribbon. That's garbage. Let's flip this thing over. See a couple screws here. Let me get the screws out. Okay. Now I see screws from the other side. I don't... What's the plan of attack? Maybe we'll do a little prying. Maybe. If I can get under anything. Wire right here, I got a clip, another wire, and another wire. Something's holding it up right there. Let me see if I can get those screws out. I don't know. See if you can, a couple screws right here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make some clearance there for the screwdriver. I don't know. So, another wire right there. Okay, maybe now. One screw holding up this entire show. Come on, man. Finally. Let's clip this wire off right here. Finally, all that fuss for this. There's a gold-plated pins in there. Okay, so that was what was under that piece of metal. It does not really look like. There's holes right there, but the screws are from the other side. This is a piece of rubber. I wonder if this will pry up. No, I don't think that's... Okay, there's a screw there. but just one. It might be one of those things where it's clipped together. Oh yeah. Now we're making progress. Clip a wire here. So there is that piece. And here is inside. Okay. Oh! Nice, good sized transformer. It's bigger than I was expecting. I like that. Alright, let's just remove some screws now. There's the transformer. That's nice. Set that off to the side for the moment. Another board, piece of aluminum. Some nice goodies on here. We'll clean that up. Let's see if I can... This piece of metal right here. It's that same piece of metal from earlier that was holding up to show. Let me clip this wire off. I want to get this board out of here. Hope you're not bored so far. Alright, don't quit your day job, scrap it all. Any more screws hiding under here? No, but some plastic tabs. There we are. There's that board again. That's a pretty nice looking board. You know, I don't know what Boardsort.com. This might be a peripheral mid-grade. You got some gold pins, some really nice ICs, and some flat pack, I think probably processing chips. Anyways, we'll deal with that too. What else in here? That looks like it's going to be a tin coated piece of copper. I'll take the file to that in a moment. Okay, another screw. And that is the whole mechanism for printing receipts. We'll have a closer look at that in a moment. There's a motor under there. That's nice. Alright, so I got my mess cleaned up and I clipped some wires. You can see over here. I did it off camera. I didn't want to bore you guys with just clipping wires. And then this piece, I went ahead and removed the motor, clipped a few wires. That's about as much as I can see on there worth taking off. So that would just be tin shred. Now this is a really nice board. I think I'm going to sell this to Boardsort.com, which means I can't take off any of these chips. If you don't have a place to sell to like Boardsort.com, you could take off these chips and maybe refine them yourself or sell them on eBay. But I do know that I'll have to take off this piece of aluminum, probably this thing right there, clip off the wires. So I'll go ahead and finish cleaning up this board. I think this is a mid-grade peripheral, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, according to Boardsort.com. My scrapyard does not buy circuit boards, so I'm still learning all this through Boardsort.com. Okay, get that piece of aluminum off there. I think I can remove this copper toroid off. I don't think it's going to downgrade the board. That's about as far as I'm going to go on that board. We got this little thing right here. I'm just going to clean this up. I'm sure I could sell this to Boardsort.com, but after you include the shipping fees, I don't think the value of this makes sense for me to sell it to them. So I'll just depopulate it. Get that off of there. Clip these leads right here. There's that. This fuse here, the ends are brass, but I'm just going to toss that into my dirty brass. My scrapyard's okay with it. But what it was held onto, those are brass, so I'm going to pry those off. And then these pins right here, they're brass as well. Might as well clip them off. And the rest of that, oh, this little thing, I'm not sure. Oh, I'm glad I pulled that little cap off, because that is a little copper spool. Man, I almost passed up on some copper. Now that's shred. Clip off that end there. That thing is brass. Oh, so on the cash drawer, the bell that always makes that ding we always hear, that's brass. The lock mechanism, it's like a zinc aluminum. And then also on there, there's this coil of copper. We'll get that cleaned up as well. So now we got, well, let me finish cleaning this up. I gotta unscrew this. Clean piece of aluminum. Let's clean up this one as well. All right, that's clean. Now these things, these are going to be copper. Probably won't be able to see it on camera, but they are copper. You can crunch it up sometimes. On these ones right here, there's copper inside there, but I just throw these into my dirty brass because that's what my yard will pay for them. But these bigger ones are usually worth spending the time crunching this plastic to get yourself a clean piece of copper number 2. You can see that, so I'm just crunching it with my side cutters. I'll do that off of camera. I don't want to bore you with that. Now we got this piece right here. Get this plastic off of there. Clip off some wires. I gotta say, I'm really surprised at how much stuff was actually in this cash register. So we got another fuse. More dirty brass, but more brass connectors. Gotta scrap it all. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clip these leads that are holding the transformer to this board. Okay. Let's check that with the file. And it is certainly copper. Woohoo! Copper! You'll never get me, copper! Hey, another spool of copper. There's surprises everywhere in this little thing. These little things are, well, I don't know what they are, but they're filled with something. I'm just going to toss them into my shred. Now that is just a piece of garbage. Garbage. All right, what else do we... Oh yeah, there was 3 of these, which I believe are tin-coated copper. So let's check that with the file. I can get to scratch. Yep. So that'd be clean copper number 2. We'll cut this end off there. That's going to be brass. Okay. So what we got left is process the plug, process the transformer, and to do this coil. So let me get cleaned up again, and I'll get back to y'all. Okay, so we got this motor here, and if I can find my tool. I don't know where my screwdriver went. Anyways, there's 4 tabs here. They bend pretty easily. So this little screwdriver is doing the job. You could just sell this as a copper bearing motor. So that's a piece of shred steel. And we got some copper contacts in there. And maybe, yeah, it looks like there's going to be a little brass bearing in there. See if we can just that pounded out real easily. The rest of that is garbage. So we got some copper there. Clean off a little bit of this plastic gunk. And now we got ourselves a little motor here. This stuff up here is copper. You can just usually crunch it with your nut or crunch it with your side cutters. Clean off some of this material here. And that's going to be copper. Finish the rest off camera. Now we got the armature. And what I like to do is just cut like that. Clip each side. Alright, just flip it over and pry the copper right out of there. It's not much, but it does add up. Like I said, you could just sell this whole thing as a copper bearing motor to your yard if you so choose to. Or you can just do this and get clean copper. Alright, let me clean the rest of this up off camera. I'll be back in a moment, folks. Alright, I got the rest of that copper out of the armature, and here's the rest of the other little copper that I've gotten so far. Now we've got this coil right here, and there's just a steel cap on here, so I just need to pry this bit up. And a lot of times you can just get in between here with a screwdriver and just pry on each side. Pull that cap off, and then there is the spool of copper once I get this black material cleaned off. These are really simple. Look at that nice spool of copper. Now you can see it's hollow in the middle, so what I'm just trying to do is crunch this without cutting the copper. I'm just crunching enough to break the plastic one way or the other, and now you can just get that copper. That's nice. It's got pretty good weight, you know, probably, I don't know, a couple ounces. Anyways, we'll just add it to the pile. Okay, let's get the prongs out of here, so let me get set up. All right, got that set up in there. I'm just gonna pull these things out, just like that. I will be making a video in the future talking about what you have probably heard, plug soup. All right, so those are out of there. All right, y'all. When I was setting this up to cut it in half, with my machete, I discovered it was the kind of I's and E's that are not intercrossed, alternated cross. I'll link a video in my description of me talking more about this, but I'm just going to whack that off with the hammer. Of course, that one wants to be a little bit of a pain. That's all right. I'll flip it over. Clamp that down a little better. And now we got that. And there that is. So now I'm just going to set that in the vise, resting these parts on the top there so it's not clamped down. And then I'm going to use a punch to punch this steel down. A little bit of steel just went in the trash. Gloves pinched. And there it is. All right, let me get cleaned up. I'll get back to y'all. Okay, so let's get some weights on everything that came out of that sharp register. There's the copper that's all been cleaned up. That was from the transformer that's cut in half. This tray weighs 1 ounce. So we're looking at 13 ounces, so 12 ounces after deducting that ounce. So not bad, 12 ounces. Here's the brass, and that is 1.75 ounces of brass. Let's weigh the aluminum. 1.75 of aluminum. Interesting. Now for the insulated wire. And that is reading 9 ounces, so just a little over half a pound of insulated wire. Let's see how much a circuit board weighs. Get that out of the way. 9 pound, 6 ounces for the circuit board. A little over half a pound, so that's nice. What else do we got? Well, let's go weigh up the steel. So let me get my other scale. If I can get everything, there's a tray of everything, of all the other steel. 9 pounds, 13 ounces. So that's how much steel there was. Now there was the cash drawer, so let me weigh that. Let me get that. So what do we got here? 16 pounds, 12 ounces. So, all right, well, I thank you for watching this video. Maybe you would consider subscribing to my channel if you're not a subscriber. And to all of my subscribers, thank you so much for being here, for supporting my channel, for liking my videos, for all your nice comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for the sunshine. Thank you for the little bit of rain that we had this morning. Just thank you, God, for everything that you do and for who you are. Lord, I just pray for all the people watching my videos. God, I pray that you will just help them in their lives. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.